Episode of Talking Sports with the Legend. Tonight's guest is John Creighton. He is the athletic director at William Tennant High School. Take it away, Steve.
Where were you born and raised?
I was born in the Northeast in Fox State's neighborhood.
What age did you start playing sports?
I had a chance to start playing soccer and baseball in Fox State's and Fox Rock when I was 5 years old.
Did you always want... What high school did you go to?
I went to
grade
the
school.
All time, Steve. Northeast High School.
Grade school.
Oh, grade school?
Mhm.
I went to the greatest grade school of all time. Fox State's Elementary on North Street.
Did you always want to go to Northeast?
Yes, so half my family, my siblings went to Central and half went to Northeast, so there was a nice bit of rivalry there.
Yes, where he went to college now. Where did he go to college? Where did he go to college?
Where did you go to college?
When did I go to college?
Where?
Oh, where I went to East Stroudsburg University in the Poconos.
How many different organizations and teams did you play for?
It's a long list, man. I'm getting older. So for the most part, my playing career was all at Fox Chase or at Northeast High School. Bounced around after college, lived in Florida for a little bit, came home, started to become a teacher and a coach myself. After teaching and coaching in Philadelphia for 12 years, I moved on to Cheltenham High School for a little over 3 years, and I've been at William Tennant for about 2.
When do you think the school will be like in class, like instead of online?
Alright, so here's what you're going to do. You're going to take off your hat, you're going to put any date possible, or any month possible in your hat, you're going to pull one out, and that's where we're going to go with. Because honestly, Steve, it changes every day. I'm excited that we're back to voluntary workouts right now, but it's a lot of work because we have to follow a lot of rules to make sure that we're safe with all of our student athletes and our coaches. It's been really tough, but I'm happy that we're back and excited that and hopeful for a season.
Ask him to go over again what he did after. Tell him to go over again what he did after college.
What did you do after college again?
What did I do after college? See, so I went to East Stroudsburg University for health and physical education. That took me 5 years. It usually takes people 4. I stayed another year to do my grad school, my master's degree in sport management. Then I moved to Florida, worked at Disney Wildwood Sports. You know where the MLS is playing right now?
Yeah.
I worked there, and that's where the NBA is playing. I had a chance to work there. My roommate, and actually my best man at my wedding, still works down there. So yeah, that's a beautiful place to play sports.
That's really cool.
What team did he work for down
What
there?
team did you work for down there?
So I had a chance while I was down there. I did a lot of the AAU championships you see on TV, a lot of the Premier League championships you see on TV, and then I had a chance to do the Atlanta Braves spring training. And then after the spring training, they still had a Tampa Bay Rays AA team, minor league baseball, before I came home and started teaching.
So when he came home, ask him then what school did he teach at when he came home?
What school did you teach at when you came home?
When I came home, I started teaching. I actually taught my first year at Wilson Middle School on Common Avenue, around the corner from Jardel. I spent there 1 year, and then I moved to teaching in Olney and Grover, Washington, where I coached basketball, boys lacrosse, and middle school football. And after 6 years in middle school, I moved up to George Washington High School, where I had a chance to coach not only football and boys soccer, but boys basketball and lacrosse.
Can you coach unified too?
Oh, don't throw that right at me. I forgot. Yeah, we started a program both in Washington, Cheltenham, and William Tennant in connection with Special Olympics with our Unified Sports Initiative. At Washington, we had soccer and bocce. At Cheltenham, we had cheerleading, bocce, and track. And at William Tennant, we're going to have bocce next year, but we already have a track team
Where? How far have you traveled, for, like, as a coach?
As a coach, at Washington, we went to Atlantic City for a showcasing tournament. For Unified, we went to the national games in New Jersey in 2014. When all your buddies were playing on the basketball team that I hung out with. We were with Mac Grabowski, I still keep in touch with. Where else? Traveling for coaching, not that far. Up and down the East Coast for the most part. But really, it was centered around Philadelphia and the public league.
How about when he played it?
How'd you guys do in the, when you guys went to the Nationals?
So our George Washington Unified Soccer team received the silver medal at the National Games. It was a really nice experience for all the kids involved. We spent a week at the College of New Jersey. It was right along the same year as the Men's World Cup, so it was a really nice connection watching the games at night and then playing games.
Did you always want to be like a teacher or an athletic director?
That's a good question. So my mom and my dad were both coaches. They actually met teaching at Stetson Middle School in Kensington.
I never knew that. I'm sorry, John. That's where I live. That's where I grew up.
They met there in the 70s.
That is so funny.
Both my mom and my dad recently retired, but they spent 40 years in the school district. My mom spent the last 20 downtown as an administrator for Health Phys Ed. My dad spent the last 15 at Frankfurt High School. So it was in our blood. Not only myself, but my brother Tom, my sister Mary are also phys ed teachers. My sister-in-law Krista is a phys ed teacher, and then my wife Kelly, as you know, is a special ed teacher. So there's a lot of teachers and a lot of coaches in the family.
Who was your role model?
Who was my role model? I guess it depended on the season. I mean, looking back and getting old and being in your 40s now and having your own kid, you start to realize how much you tried not to be like your parents growing up as a teenager and in your 20s. You start realizing how much of a great role model your parents are. And I realized that when I started getting in my 30s and I started having my own kids in the last couple of years that I wouldn't have been able to be a good father, a good husband, a good teacher, a good coach without my mom and my dad.
You tell my fans how me and you met.
How me and you met?
Became friends, yeah.
Well, you can move the camera over because it has nothing to do with you. So, we got our chance to start hanging out in Jardel with the Bar League softball system in the Northeast. So I remember you lingering around at Fox chasing some of our soccer leagues with Mr. McDonald as well.
Oh, yeah.
Steve, one question he asked you about traveling. How far did you travel while you were at East Stroudsburg? Did you go down to like the North Carolina every year, or?
We had a lot of different trips, not sports related. Many college students do. For the most part, I hung on with baseball for one full season when I was a freshman, and college became more important than sports. And then I played a little bit of lacrosse for 2 years, but that was club. That really didn't go further than Maryland. We bounced around the Eastern Coast for 4 months.
Cool.
What other sports did you play as a kid?
Well, during that time, there wasn't the computers, and there wasn't the touchscreens, and there wasn't the smartphones, and it sounds like it was like caveman era, but it was like the 80s and 90s. It's not that long ago. But we were always outside. We were always at the recreation center, Fox chasing and playing basketball, soccer, football, tennis, street hockey, fireball, wall ball. Really anything to stay outside as long as you could. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen as much anymore.
What's your favorite sport to play?
It's a good question. I think the reason why I became an athletic director is because I pretty much enjoy every sport, and to my own personal playing demise, I really didn't start zeroing in on one sport until I grew and I was out of college and I was 21 years old, and all of a sudden I was bigger, taller, stronger bastard. But unfortunately, I really didn't have a favorite. In the fall, my favorite was soccer. In the winter, my favorite was basketball. In the spring, my favorite was baseball. And in the summer, I tried to do everything. So it was a little bit of everything at all times. On my class ring, it says athletics, and you would have thought I set myself up to become an athletic director back when I got my class ring.
Did you ever get nervous before a game as a coach?
Every single game, Steve. If you're not nervous, you're not putting in all the time and the effort, and ensuring that you cover all your bases. I do not, as much as I miss coaching, as much as I miss the day-to-day preparation to prepare for a game of practice, I do not miss waking up in the middle of the night, overthinking and thinking plays and what I could have changed from the day before's loss. I don't miss that at all. I mean, that was a real tough pill to swallow when you have a game that you should have won and a couple different plays here and there that the coach should have called or could have gone back and adjusted. Waking up at 2 a.m. is not fun. Overthinking and rethinking your decision making.
How do you think that Tennant will do this year? How do you feel like they're going to do this upcoming season?
And what sport?
What sport?
Football, fall sports.
I think that there's a great thing going on in William Tennant right now. The facility's beautiful. It's like a diamond in the rough that not a lot of people know about in Bucks County. The building's pretty much brand new. It was built in 2011. The gymnasium just was renovated. You saw that last year. We're getting new turf and a new track next summer because the crazy situation we're in right now, we weren't able to do the construction on the track and the turf this summer. So there's a lot of good kids, a lot of good student athletes, and I think our best groups are yet to come. Because we have 2 middle schools, we have good coaches, we have good parents, and I think the best is yet to come. We've adjusted our divisions in the suburban one, so we'll be playing some schools I think that are similar in our experience and our skill and I think we'll do good for the most part.
Do you guys ever play any type of good schools?
Yeah, so as of right now, if nothing changes, we're playing Father Judge in football. We play Archbishop Ward in soccer. We play Lansdale Catholic in a lot of sports. So yeah, there are a lot of Catholic schools on there for non-leagues. I'm just hoping that we're actually able to play those full non-league seasons this year because everybody's going to have their own rules. Philadelphia District 12 will have their own rules. District 1 where I'm at, we can even see different rules in the counties where our league, Suburban 1, is in Montgomery and Bucks County. There could be different rules in Montgomery and Bucks for our games.
How do they choose what class you guys are in? For the state?
Based on enrollment. So you do that every 2 years. You do it on every odd year, and then you report it and it reclassifies every even year.
Any questions?
The question Stephen asked about the sports, I've been trying to tell him everybody doesn't know, even like the NFL and all is talking about, delaying the seasons. Have they brought any of that stuff up for you guys, like push soccer back to the spring next year?
So Pennsylvania, we're still in a holding pattern with the plans that we're going, and we're going to move forward with our fall sports starting at a normal time in August. We have 5 teams out right now doing voluntary workouts, but I can tell you that New Jersey made a decision and they pushed everything back pretty much a month so they can see if they can figure out school first. In New York, some high school sports, they actually moved everything to January to June. So they're going to be doing their winter season, basketball, wrestling, swimming. In January, March, they're going to do their fall season, which will be football, soccer, field hockey, cross country in the middle, and then they're going to squeeze in their spring season in May and June at the end of the school year. So they're really going to change the gamut in the scheduling of high school sports, fitting in 3 seasons, essentially into 2 seasons.
Yeah, I was curious too, because it's so weird. Like Stephen asked you in the beginning, when's school back? And you don't know, but you guys are already practicing 5 different sports, and that's what has been driving me crazy. I'm like, one of these parents are going to probably get upset if their kid gets sick, and then whose fault is it and all that stuff.
I know.
So we have a 23-page document that we came up with. We ran it by the school board. It got submitted and approved by the school board. Then we send that to the Department of Education to be on file so that we can follow the certain guidelines as to sanitizing and disinfecting and no contact. So like right now, like for instance, our girls soccer team had a workout this morning, Steve. So you show up, you wait in your car. You're not allowed out until the trainer lets you out. The trainer at the top of the hill takes your temperature. As long as you don't have a fever, then you come to my table. While you're walking between the trainer and my table, you're using your phone. You know what a QR code is? It's like those crazy little jumbled puzzle squares that you can scan with your phone. So you scan that with your phone and you answer 7 questions every day. As long as you answer the questions the way that will allow us to screen you and allow you to practice or work out, then you can go by me, and then you get stuck in a particular group every single day that you are only allowed to work with that group. So if Steve and I were in the same group, we would have to be in the same group every single day, so that if we do get to that situation where somebody may get tested positive, it would only stay within that tiny little group of 6 or 7 people, and it's not getting out to the whole school.
Interesting, very interesting. You guys sound a lot more prepared than the NFL and some of these other leagues, and it's so funny because
We don't have the money like them, Big Steve.
I know, but that's the point. They aren't prepared like you guys are, and like that's what the NFL players are mad at, that they didn't come up with that 23-page report that you guys did. And the NFL, I think, was just wishfully thinking that everything's going to be fine in July and August. And
I have a question. Did you guys have to come up? Did you guys have to come up with like the rules on your own? Like
That's actually where I was going to go next. So we have a really good group of athletic directors in the Suburban 1 League. There's 24 schools. We meet since this situation started back in March. We've met every single week on Tuesday, kind of just bounce ideas off each other. What's going on there? What's working? What's not working? How are you going? So like it wasn't something that I felt like I was on an island where I'm going to have to start from scratch. Like I was doing some college master's dissertation type of plan. There's some really good plans out there. We were able to brainstorm what works for William Tennant, may not work for Havertz Horsham. What works for Havertz Horsham may not work for Central Bucks. So we were able to finagle it to the point where everybody felt comfortable. And every school board is different. Every school district's different. They have their own demographics. They have their own diverse population, and some are working class, some are not. It all depends on really what the makeup of the district is. And then again, it's still voluntary. We're not forcing anybody back.
right, and that's the thing that I'm happy about. Like you said, you guys are putting it out there, and then the kids responded, and their parents agreed, and that's why I really like your plan that you guys laid out.
so some kids can't do homeschool and still play sports.
Let's say you're a homeschool student, right, Steve?
Mm-hmm.
You still live, and you still, like, if William Tennant High School would have been your school, if you would have gone to a brick and mortar or a building school, and you're a homeschooler, you can still play sports.
Yeah, that's been a rule for a while, right?
That hasn't changed.
Right.
So if some of the kids from Tennant went to the homeschool because of the virus.
Right, they would then be able to still be on the football team or the soccer
Oh,
team.
nice.
Probably going to be a lot of kids that are going to want to try to do that full virtual everyday schooling because, again, every home is different, every parent's life is different, every kid's life is different. Some kids could be living with grandparents that are high risk. I mean, everyone's story is different, and we have to take that into account because we want everybody to have the same opportunity and have the same success and a good experience.
You guys ever play Ryan?
Played Ryan in a few sports. We played Ryan last year in softball. I'm trying to think about some other sports we played Ryan in. We scheduled them for lacrosse, but again, the lacrosse season didn't happen. So we played Ryan in a couple sports.
They ain't scared.
Now there's wood. Somebody just told me there's wood. Somebody just told me wood uses your field. Is that true? With some night games? For soccer?
Yeah. Wood soccer does not use our field. We do play wood in soccer for boys soccer every year at Hirschberg. So it's like a neutral site where everybody can come out. Kind of like how Roman does Saturday nights at Lighthouse. So they would go over to Hirschberg and play there. We do play wood. Or I'm sorry, wood does play their football games at our stadium. Wood also uses our pool for swimming. So there are some things that would use our facilities for.
Anything else, Steve?
No.
Well,
What's with that hat?
You carry it to me. I didn't wear a shirt, but he told me not to.
Steve, you're supposed to keep that stuff to yourself.
Better now.
Yes.
No brace. No more brace.
Yeah, he has a soft brace on now, and he only has to wear it when he's going to be doing like activities or if it's bothering him.
Even surface.
Yeah, let's say goodbye to everybody on the Facebook Live,
Yeah.
Steve. Thank you very much, John, for doing this.
Tie. Where's the shirt and tie?
Say thank you very much.
Thank you very much, John.
No problem.
All right, Steve, I can't. Thanks a lot for doing this, John. I appreciate it. How old's your boy?